From the ruins of ISIS, a new doctrine is emerging, one that no longer hides in deserts, but in state offices. Russia is adapting the ISIS playbook: recruit the alienated, mask operations in ideology, and weaponize chaos. The difference? This time, it's sanctioned from above. As the West moves from conventional conflict to hybrid warfare, intelligence experts are sounding the alarm. Russia is deploying methods strikingly similar to those once hailed as the hallmarks of the Islamic State between 2013 and 2019. A report by the Center for Countering Disinformation on Telegram says Russian intelligence is conducting targeted psychological operations on social media aimed at individuals within the European Union.
The campaigns focus on marginalized Russian-speaking groups, feeding them religious or nationalist narratives to lure them into online communities, where radicalization and recruitment. The recruited individuals in the EU are then handed small tasks: gather intelligence about critical infrastructure, pass on logistics, and act as disposable agents.
According to an Associated Press report, Germany's Federal Criminal Police Office has explicitly alerted citizens.
Russia is recruiting low-level agents, carried out on little money, often without knowing the purpose in sabotage campaigns.
One senior research fellow at the International Center for Counterterrorism, Kacper Rankovic, speaking to Euronews, explains.
Russia is using so-called low-level agents in its hybrid war against the West. Ordinary civilians recruited, often via social media, to carry out relatively minor acts of espionage and sabotage. There is this concept that hybrid warfare is like in 2014. If you look at Russia's military doctrine, transnational terrorism, state on state, they are fully aware that hybrid warfare is a tool they can use. By recruiting disposable agents, Russia seeks to create a network of one-time operatives to destabilize societies and undermine trust in national governments.
Rankovic also explained that the overall approach remains the same: recruiting morally dubious individuals because they are more malleable and easier to manipulate.
These are Russia's natural allies. This approach allows Russia to conduct hybrid warfare by using criminals as proxies in Europe, much like the so-called Islamic State, ISIS, which once recruited European criminals for violent operations.
Observers draw direct parallels. Whereas ISIS recruited European criminals for violent operations, Russia now engages them for espionage or sabotage on behalf of the state. According to the report, these tactics form part of a broader hybrid war strategy. Disinformation, cyber attacks, proxies, and so-called covert agents blur the lines between peace and conflict. European intelligence agencies warn that Russia is planning orchestration of bombings, arson, and infrastructure attacks across the continent. According to the Center for Countering Disinformation, in Ukraine and the Baltic states, the pattern is emerging. Telegram channels, encrypted messengers, invitations of easy work in exchange for small tasks that escalate. Russia's playbook mirrors not only ISIS's social media radicalization methods, but also its operational use of expendable militants. The objective, not necessarily high-impact destruction, but pervasive uncertainty, fear, and the breakdown of democratic resilience. As one official speaking to The Guardian put it,
"These people are disposable and Moscow doesn't care about them."
Russia's militarized information warfare machine has adopted the tactics of a non-state terrorist group, but applied them to state-sponsored covert operations across Europe. Parallel to its recruitment of proxies, Russia is reportedly waging a vast disinformation war, spreading false claims that blur truth and sow mistrust. According to a BBC Ukraine report, one such campaign targets the city of Kostiantynivka in Donetsk, where Russian propaganda claims Ukrainian troops are allegedly mining residential buildings and preventing civilians from leaving.
This is a typical example of an information operation aimed at discrediting the defense forces of Ukraine and intimidating the civilian population. The Russian side provides no evidence, offering no photos or video confirmation and relies solely on the words of a Russian military expert.
The report said that despite no evidence beyond claims from a Russian military expert, the false narrative was spread widely via social media, messaging apps, and controlled outlets. The goal: divert blame for atrocities, weaken local trust in the Ukrainian army, and influence international support.
By spreading such falsehoods, propagandists aim to justify their own numerous crimes and shift the blame onto Ukraine. Kyiv acts in accordance with international humanitarian law, while Russia systematically targets civilian infrastructure.
Amid this environment, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on October 31st announced new sanctions targeting individuals involved in Russian military production and Ukraine-claimed propaganda channels. Released on Telegram, Zelensky declared,
"I have also signed new decrees on Ukraine's sanctions, targeting individuals who work for Russia's military production and propaganda. And we will continue to block every scheme used to circumvent sanctions."
However, the Ukrainian president did not specify who exactly is targeted by the new restrictions. During a brief, Zelensky further said Ukraine would soon align its sanctions policy with the EU's 19th sanctions package.
Next month, we will complete the synchronization of sanction packages with our partners, fulfilling all our plans and commitments.
Following a meeting attended by Presidential Sanctions Policy Commissioner Vladislav Vlasiuk, SSU Chief Vasyl Malyuk, and Foreign Intelligence Service Head Oleh Ivashenko, Zelensky instructed officials to intensify cooperation with international partners to synchronize ongoing sanctions.
The cumulative effect of sanctions has the greatest impact, which is why it is crucial that partners adopt measures already implemented by their neighbors within their own jurisdictions. This requires substantial efforts within the Group of Seven, as well as across Europe, to ensure that EU sanctions are supported by Switzerland, Norway, the United Kingdom, and other countries outside the EU, and also close cooperation with Japan, Canada, and the United States.
In effect, the Kremlin's disinformation campaign and Ukraine's concurrent sanctions drive represent two fronts of the same confrontation. One seeks legitimacy via lies, the other defense through collaboration and transparency.